You can keep your money completely separate from your partner and still end up paying for their debt. Not on paper. Not in any legal sense. In the actual day-to-day, every month, in ways that never look like a debt payment and never need your signature. And it happens more than you'd think, because the money never moves the way you'd expect. It moves in small cover-this-for-me moments that never feel serious enough to name. And by the time anyone notices, it's been happening for months, sometimes years. You see, once two people share a roof, debt stops behaving the way most people think it does. It stops being one person's private problem and starts reaching across the line you thought you drew between your money and theirs. And the first thing it reaches for isn't your money, it's the small decisions. Who picks up groceries this week? Who covers the electric bill that came in higher than expected? Who fronts the deposit, the flight, the wedding gift for their friend, with a vague promise to settle up later that somehow never gets settled? None of it looks like debt. Each thing on its own is small enough to brush off. Each one has a totally reasonable explanation, and every single one gets framed as convenience, not as one person paying for another. Then the bigger things start showing up. The vacation that gets downgraded because one person can't put in their full share. The apartment upgrade that keeps getting postponed. The savings account that was supposed to grow on both sides, slowly only growing on one. If you're the partner without the debt, you start feeling something you can't quite put a name on. A low, steady sense that something's off. You're working the same job, earning the same money you earned before the relationship, and somehow there's less of it left at the end of the month. You check your spending. Nothing looks wrong. No big purchases, just this slow drain you can't trace. That drain has a source, and the source isn't your spending. We'll get to exactly where it's coming from in a minute. But first, pause for a second and look at a household the way it actually works, not the way couples talk about it. A household is one financial system with two people putting money in and one stack of bills that has to get paid. The rent is the rent. The lights stay on every month. Groceries have to get bought. These costs sit at the household level and they don't care whose name is on which paycheck. In a balanced setup, both people put in their share, and whatever's left over is breathing room. That breathing room pays for savings, investments, fun, the future. Now, when one partner is carrying debt, their paycheck is already promised to the bank before it ever lands in the household. The bank gets paid first. Whatever's left is what they can actually contribute. If the debt is sizable, what they can contribute shrinks. They still have to eat, get to work, exist as a person. So the amount they bring to the shared pot gets smaller. But the bills don't get smaller with it. So the household has a gap. And gaps have to be filled by somebody. They get filled by the only person in the system who has the room to fill them, the partner without debt. Not because they decided to, just because they're the only one who can. The gap finds them. They start covering more and more without anyone ever sitting down and agreeing to it. That's the transfer. That's the moment one person's old loan quietly turns into a two-person problem. The debt one person signed for years ago is now being paid off by two incomes, one officially, one by absorbing the spillover. And the absorbing partner has no idea how much they're actually paying. Let me put real numbers on this so you can see how it works. Imagine two partners. Each one takes home $4,000 a month after taxes. The household bills come to $3,700. Rent, utilities, food, transport, insurance. Split evenly, each one chips in $1,850 and walks away with $2,150 in their own pocket. Now drop in $1,500 a month of debt payments on one side. Car loan, credit cards, an old personal loan still hanging around. Partner B's usable income drops to $2,500. After putting in their $1,850 share of the bills, they have $650 left for everything else they need as a human. Gas, lunch at work, clothes, a haircut, a birthday gift for their mom. $650 doesn't stretch. So Partner B starts asking for small adjustments. Hey, can you grab groceries this week? I'll get you back for the electric bill. Can you cover dinner? I'll catch the next one. Partner A says yes every time, because each ask is small and saying no would feel cold. Slowly, Partner A's actual contribution climbs to around $2,600. Their personal pocket money drops from $2,150 down to $1,400. Now zoom out and look at the whole household. Combined breathing room before the debt, $4,300. After the debt, $2,050. The household lost $2,250 of breathing room against a debt payment of $1,500. The other 750 came straight out of partner A's pocket. Partner A is now paying $750 a month on a loan they never signed. And if you asked them where their money went, they couldn't tell you because it never left as a debt payment. It left as groceries, utilities, dinners, deposits. $750 a month times 12. That's $9,000 a year, paid by the wrong person, attributed to nothing. And here's the thing about that $9,000. It's only the part you can see. The bigger transfer is what stops happening, and we'll get to that next. Partner A used to save. Now they save less. Partner A used to put a fixed amount into investments every month. Now that amount is smaller or gone. Partner A used to have a cushion for surprises. Now the cushion is thin. And that's before you count all the years that money was supposed to sit in an account growing into something bigger. Then something breaks. The car needs a new transmission. A medical bill shows up. In a healthy household, two cushions absorb the hit together. Here, only one cushion exists, and it belongs to one person. The whole shock lands on one person, and they're absorbing it from a cushion that's already been thinned out from quietly keeping the lights on for two. The same thing plays out on the timeline of the relationship. The house keeps getting pushed back. The conversation about having a baby keeps getting pushed back. The career change one of them was planning, the one that needed 12 months of savings to pull off, dies without anyone formally killing it. It just stops getting brought up. The plans that were supposed to belong to both people now move at the speed of the slower partner's finances. And the slower partner is slower because of paperwork they signed before the relationship even existed. So why does this run for years without one honest conversation about it? Well, both people have a reason to keep it unnamed. The partner with the debt avoids it, because saying it out loud would mean admitting something they already feel and don't want confirmed, that they're putting in less, that their financial past is now sitting on the shoulders of someone they love, and that the gap between what they bring and what they take is being filled by the other person giving things up to cover it. Naming it forces a real reckoning. Either they restructure the debt aggressively, take a second job, downgrade how they live, or admit out loud that the arrangement isn't even. None of those feel good. Staying quiet is easier. Now the partner without the debt avoids it for a different reason. They feel the imbalance, but they can't put a number on it. Every individual moment is small. Bringing it up sounds like keeping score. It sounds petty, transactional, unromantic. The kind of thing that turns into a fight and gets called controlling. And there's something deeper going on too. You see, the partner without the debt doesn't want to see themselves as someone being used. So they keep relabeling the transfer as kindness. They tell themselves it's temporary. They tell themselves it'll balance out eventually. They tell themselves they're being generous, which feels a lot better than admitting they're being slowly drained. So one person feels guilty for needing help. The other feels guilty for noticing the pattern, and the whole setup rewards both of them for staying silent. Because the second either one says something, the household has to restructure, and restructuring is uncomfortable for everyone. The small transfers keep going. The convenience framing holds. Every month the conversation doesn't happen, the breathing room keeps eroding, and the resentment that nobody's allowed to say out loud keeps building up in places it shouldn't. It comes out sideways, in fights about chores, in a weird tension about whether to go to a friend's birthday party, in a tone of voice that doesn't match what's actually being talked about. The money is the source. Everything else is the symptom. Run this long enough, and the imbalance stops being financial. It turns into something else. It turns into direction, into who gets to decide what. The contributing partner ends up with a kind of leverage they never asked for, not the kind anyone uses on purpose, the kind that builds quietly in the background in every decision the household has to make. Take whether one partner can quit a bad job. The partner with the debt can't. Their paycheck is already promised to the bank. They stay in a job they want to leave because leaving needs savings they don't have. The other partner has more freedom to walk, switch fields, or take a pay cut for something they actually want. One person has options, the other one has obligations. Or whether a parent can stay home with a child. Only one partner can afford to step back, and it's almost never the one carrying the debt. A decision that should be a real choice between two people becomes a math problem with one answer. Or who gets to take risks? Risk takes money, and money lives on one side of the household, so the risks live there too. The partner with the debt becomes structurally cautious, even if that's not who they actually are. They back off the big decisions because they can't afford to be wrong. They start agreeing more, pushing back less, going along with plans they would have questioned 5 years ago. Neither person asked for this hierarchy. Both people feel it. And once it sets in, it's hard to undo, because undoing it means making the debt disappear, and the debt is the slowest moving piece of the whole system. So the legal owner of the debt is one person. The one actually paying for it is two. And when those two facts disagree, the second one always wins, because it doesn't need a contract to operate. It just needs two people living under the same roof. So you see, separate accounts don't stop shared consequences. Once debt eats into one person's capacity inside a shared household, the other person ends up paying for it. Maybe not to the bank, but they pay. If this gave you a way of seeing things you didn't have before, this is what I do on this channel. I map out the hidden systems shaping your marriage and your money. Most of what's really driving your relationship isn't visible until someone lays it out. That's every video here. Check out my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.